At sunrise, May 17th, 1964, the crowd gathered to witness the first execution after the independence of Kuwait. He was an Omani resident, a true crime that will take us through twisted events involving family, honor, and fidelity. In the 50s, 60s, early 70s, a lot of Omani nationalities worked in Kuwait. One of them was Khamis. He secured a job to work as a cook in the army. After a while, he secured another job for his half-brother as a cook in the army also, and his half-brother, Zayed, brought his wife and they lived all together on the outskirts of what used to be Kuwait City, in an area of random houses, not those houses for the poor people, immigrants. It's not wasn't regulated, poor constructed houses. On the 4th of November, Khamis went to the police station to report that his brother Zayed did not come to work or come back home, which was highly unusual. He used to be a good worker, came to work on time all the time, and that was very strange that he didn't come home that night. The investigating officer recorded that, and then next day he went to work to ask about Zayed. All his co-workers thought it was very strange actually that he didn't show up, and he was a very well dedicated cook that worked with them, and they were Omani also, the same nationality. He dug in deeper, the officer, and they told him that his wife had a lot of problems with him and she had a bad reputation. Upon further investigation, they actually found that the wife was deported from Kuwait because they catched her partying with some Iraqi men. His brother Khamis admitted that after she got deported the first time, his brother Zayed brought her back through the desert illegally under another name, and she continued living with them. Unfortunately, she did not change her habits. She kept going out. Her reputation was really bad, and he told his brother about her, but he said that it's his wife. He doesn't believe all that, and he loves her and he wants to live with her. They continued living together in the same house. After some days, some firemen were walking through the desert going back home. Back then, Kuwait was not really developed, so there was a lot of desert spots between the cities. They found a locked metal box in the middle of the desert with a foul smell coming from it. They broke the lock and they were terrified of what have they seen inside. A body that was stuffed inside the metal box. The police came and they transferred the body to the morgue. It was of a man that was of a dark skin complexion, big nose. So the officer right away contacted Khamis to come look at the pictures. Khamis said that no, that was not his brother. The officer also showed it to the wife. The wife also said no, that was not her husband. The officer was very suspicious. The body really looked like Khamis, the brother. So he brought them in and he took them to the morgue, the wife and the brother. At the morgue, maybe after 2-3 times they said, oh yes, that is my brother. The wife said, yes, that is my husband. the picture was not clear. Now we are sure that this is Zaid. At that time, the officer noticed some cuts on Khamis's hands, and he contributed to that he cut his hand because it's from his job. He was a cook in the army. The officer dug really deep. He went to the neighbors. The neighbors, most of them said that they actually know that there's a person that his name is Salim. He used to come visit a lot the house, especially when Zaid was not there, and they kind of hinted that Salim knows the wife and they have some kind of a relationship. The officer then went to Salim, which lives in the same city. They looked up through his stuff and they actually found a picture of Salim and the wife together, and then another picture of the wife. The suspicion that they had a relationship was concrete. They knew then that Salim had a relationship with Zaid's wife. Salim had a small pickup. They brought it in and they found traces of blood on the back of the pickup. Salim said that this is normal because he transports meat for the kitchen for the army. He was a cook after all at the same place that Khamis and Zaid worked. The police officers then brought a dog. The dog, the canine, sniffed the back of the truck, sniffed the trunk, and every time he points to Salim. They brought other people again and again. He barks at Salim, indicating that Salim had some kind of a relationship with the box and the blood in the back of the car. You know, this was in the 1960s. There was not a lot of forensic evidence and testing blood DNA. So they used dogs to recognize people, and he did recognize Salim all the time. In a smart move also, they brought Khamis. Khamis was in the lineup separately, and the dog isolated him and picked him up from a lineup more than one time, sniffing the trunk, sniffing the rope that was the body was tied with. He indicated that Khamis, the brother, had something to do with the box. Here the officers put some pressure on the wife, and then she admitted that she had a relationship with Salim, because you know the picture is there. The neighbors, they said that they saw them together, but she denied that she killed her husband and stuffed him in the metal box. Khamis, Salim, and the wife continued denying that they had any involvement in the killing of the husband. Upon further investigation, where the officers went back to the army where the kitchen is, where Khamis, Salim, and Zaid worked, and the neighbors, at work, they confirmed they always had the suspicion that Salim and the wife had a relationship, and they were always fighting with Khamis, the brother, to convince his brother to stop this and get rid of the wife. She had a bad reputation. It was a bad reflections on them as Omanis working there. The neighbors also confirmed the suspicions. But at that time, a little boy came and said that he actually, at the night of the murder, the 4th of December, at night time, he saw two figures coming out from the house, dragging a metal box and then loading it into a pickup. Salim and Khamis, they brought them back to the station, and then they pressed them, interrogating them about all those facts. Salim at the end cracked, and he said that Khamis called him on that night and he only helped him carrying a metal box he wanted to get rid of. He used his pickup and he helped him carry the metal box, which he told him it was just garbage and junk he wanted to get rid of, put it in his car, and then they threw it in the desert. At that point, they cornered Khamis with all the evidence, and they put really hard pressure on him, and at the end he cracked and admitted that he was the one that killed his brother. Salim himself, he said, offered him 100 KD, which was a fairly nice amount back then, to get rid of his half-brother because of his wife's bad reputation. And they know that this is going around, and it was a big embarrassment, a big slap to their honor in front of the neighbors, in front of everybody that knew them, in front of the Omani communities, that is her behavior. Numerous times Khamis put pressure on his brother to get rid of her, to send her back to Oman, but still he was adamant about not leaving his wife. This is an enactment of his confession.
After pressure from Salem, I accepted to kill my own brother to get rid of him and the bad reputation his wife had, and his indecisiveness about his wife's actions. I went to the black market and bought a gun. In the morning of the 4th, after we woke up and we had breakfast, when he got up to go to the kitchen with his back to me, I drew my gun and shot him once. He fell down, but when I checked on him, I found out he was not dead. So I picked up a kitchen knife and started stabbing him multiple times at his neck and in his chest. We struggled, that's why I have the cuts on my hands, until he died. After that, I slid his body under his own bed and waited for his wife to come back home. To my surprise, after she saw his husband's body, she was not in any way scared or remorseful. She just said that this is a matter between you and your brother. She actually gave me 3 Kuwaiti dinars to go to the market to buy the big metal box. I and her tried to stuff him inside. We couldn't, we had to break his spine so he can't fit in the metal box. After that, I called Salem so we can use his pickup. We loaded the box in the pickup and drove to a deserts area and threw it there.
After confronting the wife with Khamis's confession, the wife said that she was very afraid of herself being killed, so she pretended that she was cooperating with them so they will not harm her herself, and she kept quiet about what really happened to her husband. The trio was tried and they got execution for Khamis and Salim and life imprisonment for the wife. But after the appeal, the death sentence was handed to Khamis only. Salim got life imprisonment because he aided and abetted in the crime, and the wife got 13 years in prison. While Khamis was in prison, actually the story goes that the warden was giving him hope that he'll be released, that his sentence would be reduced because it's a new country, there is no laws on the books, that he will be sent back to Oman to face his crimes. On the morning of 17th of May 1964, he was moved from his cell to where he was going to execute it. It was in an open area. When he saw the gallows, he was surprised. He cried, he pleaded to meet the warden, he pleaded to meet the Ministry of Interior, which was Sheikh Saad. He became then the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince of Kuwait. They were both to be advised not to meet him because he might react, he might attack them, he might say something bad to them. Khamis was executed by hanging as punishment for his crime, and that was the first death sentence that was carried out in Kuwait after the liberation.